Hello, how much of your childhood still lives within you? Spoiler alert, it's more than you think. What if the way you were loved, or not loved, as a child shapes the way you love today? Mind-blowing, right? Welcome to this deep dive into 10 ways your childhood affects your love styles. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Let's uncover how the echoes of our past influence our present. And maybe have a few laughs along the way. Whether you identify as the hopeless romantic, the avoidant, or the ever-loyal partner, there's a reason for your love style. And no, it's not just because of that one ex. Research in psychology, especially attachment theory, reveals that our earliest experiences with caregivers set the blueprint for how we connect with others later in life. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Let's explore these 10 ways childhood experiences shape your love style. And maybe figure out why you keep texting your ex. And don't worry, I promise to make this less like a therapy session and more like a fun conversation, with occasional jokes about our collective emotional baggage. Because who doesn't love a good laugh about their childhood traumas? First up, the gold standard, secure attachment. The unicorn of love styles. If your caregivers were consistently responsive and loving, like a 24/7 emotional support hotline, you likely developed trust and emotional security. Congrats, you won the emotional lottery. As an adult, this translates to a healthy, balanced love style. You're basically the relationship Yoda. Research by Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby shows that securely attached individuals are more likely to communicate openly and manage conflicts constructively. You know, like a relationship superhero. In other words, you're the person who actually texts back, a rare gem in today's dating world. Seriously, where can we find more of you? Next, let's dive into the roller coaster of anxious attachment. If your caregivers were as predictable as a cat on catnip, sometimes showering you with love and other times playing hide and seek with their emotions, you might have grown up craving reassurance like a Wi-Fi signal and fearing rejection like a bad haircut. In adult relationships, this often shows up as clinginess or insecurity. Think of it as the emotional version of holding onto your phone for dear life. Studies indicate that anxious lovers are more likely to ruminate and fear abandonment. Sound familiar? Like checking your phone every 5 seconds familiar? Don't worry, you're not alone. Half the internet is probably writing sad love poems about this right now. On the flip side, if your caregivers were emotionally distant or dismissive, you might have learned to rely on yourself instead. Congratulations, you're now a self-sufficient island. This is the root of avoidant attachment, where closeness feels overwhelming and independence is prized above all. Think of it as the emotional version of "I got this." Neuroscientific research shows that avoidant individuals often suppress their emotions to protect themselves. Because who needs feelings when you have Netflix, right? Basically, you're the ghoster who'd rather move to a new city than have a define the relationship talk. Hey, at least you're great at packing. What about those who face trauma or neglect? Spoiler alert, it's not great. This can lead to disorganized attachment, where love feels like a mix of fear and longing. Like a roller coaster, but without the fun. Adults with this style might struggle with trust and emotional regulation. Think of it as emotional Jenga. Studies link this to higher levels of anxiety and depression in relationships. Fun times, right? It's like trying to hug a cactus. You want the connection, but ouch. Maybe try a teddy bear instead. Were you only celebrated for your achievements? Like that time you got a standing ovation for tying your shoes? If so, you might equate love with performance. Yes, even your Oscar-worthy dishwashing skills. This can lead to perfectionism in relationships, constantly striving to earn affection. Like trying to win Best Partner award every day. Psychologists call this conditional regard, and it's a key factor in people-pleasing tendencies. Or as we call it, the overachiever's dilemma. Basically, you're that person who shows up to a date with a 5-year plan, a PowerPoint, and a pie chart of your best qualities. And maybe a laser pointer for good measure. Some children grow up in roles that require them to be caregivers for their own parents. It's like being a mini therapist before you even hit puberty. This can create an over-accommodating love style, where you prioritize others' needs over your own. like a human doormat. Research shows this can lead to burnout in romantic relationships. Because who knew being a superhero could be so exhausting? If this is you, you probably bring snacks for everyone at the party, and end up being the unofficial caterer. But forget to eat yourself. Because who has time for that when you're busy saving the world? Were your emotions dismissed or ridiculed? Like when you tried to show your art and got a "that's nice, dear" instead? This could lead to a fear of vulnerability. Think of it as emotional hide and seek, but you're always hiding. Adults with this experience often struggle to open up emotionally, fearing rejection or judgment. It's like trying to share your Netflix password. Risky business. The Gottman Institute's research highlights how emotional suppression can lead to conflict in relationships. Because bottling up emotions is like shaking a soda can, eventually it's going to explode. You're basically the emotional equivalent of Fort Knox, highly secure, but no one's getting in without a password and a 12-step verification process, and maybe a secret handshake. Did you grow up too fast, forced to fend for yourself? Like a mini adult in training? This often leads to hyper-independence in adulthood. The "I got this" syndrome. While self-reliance is a strength, it can also create barriers to intimacy. Like a fortress around your heart, as relying on others feels unsafe. Trust issues, anyone? In relationships, you're the one who says, "I'm fine," even when you're clearly not, while your kitchen is literally on fire. No, really, someone call 911. If you grew up seeking constant validation from your caregivers, this could carry into your love life. Adults with this tendency often struggle with self-worth and rely on external praise. This creates a cycle of seeking partners who reinforce their insecurities. Basically, you're the one who needs a standing ovation just for folding laundry. And honestly, same. Finally, let's dive into the fear of abandonment. Buckle up. If your caregivers were absent, either physically or emotionally, you might live with a deep-seated fear of being left. Like a kid waiting for Santa in July. In relationships, this often manifests as jealousy or an inability to trust. Think Sherlock Holmes, but with fewer mysteries and more text messages. If this is you, you probably read last seen timestamps like they're sacred texts. Or the latest plot twist in your favorite drama. So how did these resonate with you? Did you have an aha moment or just a huh moment? The good news is that while childhood shapes us, it doesn't define us forever. Unless you're still stuck in your teenage emo phase, awareness is the first step to healing and growth. And maybe a few less awkward family dinners. Start by journaling your experiences and patterns. Or doodling if that's more your style. Seek therapy or join support groups to untangle old wounds. Because even superheroes need a sidekick. Small steps can lead to big changes. Like finally putting the toilet seat down, and hey, if all else fails, just blame it on Mercury retrograde. It's a classic. Let's keep the conversation going. Because who doesn't love a good chat over coffee? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, or share how your childhood influenced your love style. We promise not to psychoanalyze you. Much. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Unless you're watching this at 3 a.m., then maybe. If you found this video insightful, give it a like, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations of the human mind and heart. And maybe a few laughs along the way. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 ways your childhood shapes your love style. Who knew that those building blocks were actually relationship training tools?
Thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride down memory lane. Remember, if you ever find yourself wondering why you always fall for the class clown, just blame it on that time you laughed so hard, milk came out of your nose in 3rd grade. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Because let's be honest, we all need a little help figuring out why we love the way we do.
Until next time. Keep loving, keep laughing, and keep those childhood memories close. They might just be the key to your heart. See you in the next video.